Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Ifknitscouldkill podcast. My name's Claire, and I live with my family in Ireland. Today is a little bit different than my regular podcast. This is not an episode. This is all about advent calendars. I recently purchased my first ever advent calendar from Wild Atlantic Yarns. I'm super excited to use it, but it got me thinking about what I'm actually going to use it for. So if you have ordered your advent calendar and you're waiting for it to come, or it's arrived, or you just even want to use your scraps, you don't even need to use an advent calendar for any of these patterns. You can use whatever you have in your stash. I know that the advent calendars can be pretty expensive depending where you get them from. So you can just use anything that you've already got. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just super excited to use my first ever advent calendar. I have compiled a list of 30 advent patterns for you. I'm hoping that you won't have seen most of these. I haven't seen any of these, maybe one or two, on other people's podcasts, but I'm hoping that I can give you some great ideas on what you can knit up this Christmas or crochet. I like to knit and crochet, so I've picked an equal amount of knitting and crochet patterns to show you today. So if this is your cup of tea, grab your brew, grab a pen and paper or your Ravelry, and let's get picking some patterns. I've picked out a few that you wouldn't usually use for your advent calendar project. I thought it would be a completely different idea to use something that wouldn't just be your bog standard blankets, scarves, cowls, things like that. So I picked out a few that I think if you have certain types of advent calendars that these would work really well for. So the first pattern I would like to talk about is the Mitten Garland advent calendar. This is a pattern by Kathy Lewinsky. It's available on Ravelry and it is $5.45. It's a knitting pattern that is a decorative pattern. It's for fingering weight yarn and you use a 2.25mm needle. It's saying the yardage is around 1,050 to 1,100 yards, 960 meters to 1,006 meters. So in this pattern, from what I can see by all the different pictures, which I will be having on the page, as you can see, you get 24 PDFs of mittens, which are actually all still available free as separate downloads from her site. So you don't actually have to buy the pattern. These cute little mittens are fantastic. I just love how they're all different designs on them. So if you have a spare white or a contrast colour, these would be perfect for any type of yarn that you've purchased as your advent calendar. So it includes 24 mitten charts and a blank chart so you can design your own mitten, which is really cool. Each mitten is about 4.5 inches tall and 2.25 inches wide, which doesn't include the thumb. So it's big enough to put a small gift in, which I think is a really fantastic idea, that not only can you use it as a Christmas tree decoration, you can attach a string and have them hung up and have them as an advent calendar, or you can give them away as gifts and put the gift card in, or sweets or jewellery or whatever. I think that's really cool. So yeah, that is my first pattern. What do you think? Something a little bit different. So pattern number 2 on my list is the Christmas Countdown Stockings. This is a crochet pattern for all you crocheters, and I also have this in a bundle that I've made on my Ravelry, Ifknitscouldkill, with all these different types of patterns in, and other patterns as well. And there's a few different patterns that are for crochet socks. I think this looks really cute on the mantelpiece. You could use each of your yarns from your advent calendar every day and make a different sock. And you can enjoy it all the way through Christmas every year. I think it just makes a lovely, different kind of idea of what to use your advent calendar for. This pattern, Christmas Countdown Stockings Advent Calendar, is made by Brenda K.B. Anderson. And it is using Aran weight wool, but when I looked at the hook size, it says a 4mm. So technically, I think that you could use a DK weight as well. And it's 1,000 to 1,200 yards. So the garland stretches out to measure about 50 inches long. Each stocking measures about 4 inches from toe to heel and 4 inches from top of cuff to heel. Count the days till Christmas with 24 tiny stockings. Featuring traditional Christmas colours, they are perfect size for notes or bite-sized treats. These also make great gift card holders or ornaments for the tree. So it's the same idea as what I did for the mittens. I was thinking that the socks would be great to put your gift cards in or whatever, or you could even use them as an advent calendar. You can put the treats in there for every day, and you can also knit one every day with the yarn that you get in your advent calendar. What a fantastic idea. Pattern number 3 is the Christmas Balls 2021. This is a completely out there idea as well that I had, that I could use each of the yarns to make Christmas balls to go on my Christmas tree. So this is a pattern by Arnie and Carlos, and it's a knitting pattern that uses DK weight yarn. A 3.5mm needle size, and the pattern is in English. I just love the way that all these different designs make up all these different types of balls. So if you're looking for something completely different to use your advent calendar for, I think you should really try these as well. Pattern number 4 is the Very Merry Advent Cowl by Rachel Black. It's a crochet cowl that uses fingering weight yarn and a 5mm hook. So this pattern is fantastic if you have a 24 mini skein collection for Christmas. You're going to use about 8 grams of colours. So it's absolutely perfect even if you've only got a 10 gram set. If you have 12 20-gram mini skeins, you can either work 2 consecutive repeats of each colour or work through colours 1 to 12 and then repeat colours 1 to 12 again. So this pattern states that it's to showcase both tonals and variegated yarn, and she wanted something that was simple enough to do while watching your favourite Vlogmas videos on YouTube or Christmas movies, and quick enough to do each day so you can keep up with your daily yarn openings, which is perfect for what we're trying to find. To complete a colour section, it will take you about 30 to 45 minutes, so that's really good. So if you have a 24 colour yarn advent calendar in 10 or 20 grams, then this one is a perfect crochet pattern for you. This pattern is $5.45. Number 5 on my list is also a bit of an out there idea that I had for your calendar, and it's the Fair Isle Advent MCAL Ender. So this is by Susanna Winter, and it's a knitting pattern that uses fingering weight yarn. It's in English and Finnish, and the pattern is more expensive at €18, but I think you get quite a lot for your money. So you're going to create a stocking cap or a cowl in 25 days, or take the emergency exit to turn the cap into a head hugging beanie. All sorts of fingering weight leftovers, scraps, half a skein, unicorn tails or advent calendar minis are ideal. So this is a stranded colourwork chart knit in the round, and all the charts can be worked with just 2 colours, or as many as you wish, it says. So I think this is absolutely fantastic. This stocking cap comes in 4 sizes: kids, teens, ladies and gents, and then 1 size for the cowl. So she does provide links on tutorials on how to do the colour work in this pattern, and she also helps with tips of choosing colours with 7 illustrated colour scheme examples, which is fantastic because I am so useless at picking colours and putting colours in the right places. So yeah, I think that is brilliant. She also has pay what you want. Want to support the sustainability of indie knitwear design? Set your own price for this pattern on Payhip. Not sure how that works. Never done it before. Never made this before. Don't own it. But I think it's a fantastic pattern and I wanted to put it in my list of 30. Pattern number 6 on my list is another crochet pattern. This is called Mrs. Lamb's Advent Shawl by Lisa Browell. I'm sorry, I might murder people's names. I'm not good with it. So this is a crochet shawl, which is using fingering weight yarn and a 4mm hook. The pattern is only £3.82 and it states that it is very good for mini skein advent calendars in mind. But it's also great for using up any scraps or minis you have collected over the time. So it's a simple to easy to follow pattern that you don't have to concentrate on too much, making it great for hooking while watching Christmas movies. Perfect. Each of the 24 colour sections requires 5 to 10 grams of yarn. On my test shawl pictured, I used scraps, so the amount of rows in each colour varied. You can either use the same amounts of rows in each colour or vary it, it's up to you. So you don't need a 20 gram set. You can do it if you have a 10 gram advent calendar. Another great purchase. So let's move on to pattern number 7. Pattern number 7 is Dust of Snow by Helen Stewart. Now this one is definitely on my wish list. It is a knitting pattern for a wide scarf and it is fingering weight yarn held double. It's in English and you use a 4.5mm needle. What I noticed in this pattern, it says the finished measurements are 104 inches by 18.5 inches. The colours are just stunning in the pictures. And you use your Advent mini set or any other minis and leftover yarn, blah, 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 held double with mohair, which I've only just started with mohair during the Go-Go Dynamo and I'm absolutely loving it. So I will definitely, this is definitely on my make list at some point. It's a beautiful shawl. So I definitely check that one out if you're looking for a lovely scarf to make with your Advent. This is coming up as £6.54. It's stunning, absolutely stunning. Back to crochet. We are on the Fairbanks Advent Shawl by Tony Lipsey, TL Yarn Crafts. Absolutely love her patterns. I love her podcast. It's absolutely fantastic. She is definitely one to watch. So her patterns, you know, they're going to be written really, really well. The pattern is $7.50 and it's using a 5.5mm hook and it's DK weight. The pattern goes on to say that the Fairbank shawl is a way of painting with yarn. The simple yet engaging pattern allows the yarn to really shine. Before you get too used to working with one colour, you're on to the next. So it's got basic stitches, so it's perfect for crocheters of all skill levels. So if you're only a beginner, this one's great. And I know she does do quite a few tutorials as well on her YouTube channel. So yeah, that is number 8. Pattern number 9, and we're back to a knitting pattern, is Pinions. I think that's how you pronounce it. So Pinions is a knitting pattern that is one size in English and it's using a 4mm needle. I love the look of this and it looks like it has so many different patterns in the shawl, so this one suits me perfectly. Once finished, it should be 24 inch wide by 52 inch. So it's quite a substantial size, which is really good. It says it uses 20 or 25 mini skeins of fingering weight yarn, or you can use scraps, blah, blah, blah. It's just a fantastic looking shawl that I haven't seen before, but it's coming under poncho as well, so I'm not sure if you can stitch the sides and make it into a poncho, but it also looks like a really nice shawl to just wrap around yourself when it goes cold. So yeah, that one I would also pop on your wish list. Back to crochet now, and I've picked for number 10 the Just Feel Festive shawl by Kalisha Ryan. This beautiful shawl is only $1.09. It's fingering weight yarn or DK, the fingering yarn held together. And it's a beautiful crochet shawl, which is perfect for any collection of minis, a granny stripe with a twist. It's worked on the bias, which means your stripes will be diagonal. The granny stitch is simple enough to crochet on while spending time with the family and friends. And since the yarn is held double, the fabric would be quite snuggly for those winter nights. So that also sounds perfect for your advent calendar. Tell me what you think. Number 11 on my list intrigues me. It's the Naughty or Nice calendar by Samantha Van Noy. It is a knitting pattern using fingering weight yarn, and it's a free pattern. So it uses 4mm needles, it's in English, and it's a beautiful shawl designed to use tiny skeins featured in the Trailhead Yarns Naughty or Nice yarn calendar of 2021. But it also is good for using up other mini skeins, scraps, gradient packs, etc., or your favourite fingering weight and sock yarn. So it says this pattern is a bit of a recipe. The shawl is knit sideways on the bias with a cable detail. 12 lace charts are included, and you can mix and match. Repeat the ones you love and eliminate the ones you don't. Make it your own. I think that sounds fantastic, and it's another that I would prefer because the patterns change all the time. So I think this one definitely is on my wish list to make again as well, maybe next year. So number 12 on my list, we're back to crochet, and I have chosen the Adventurous Scarf by TL Yarn Crafts again, Tony Lipsey herself. How can you not want to put one of her patterns in your decider for what you're going to use your advent calendar for? It is a beautiful scarf that is using light fingering weight yarn and a hook size of 5mm. It's obviously in English, and it's $7.50 for the pattern. It's using 13 20-gram mini skeins of fingering weight yarn, personalised by changing the numbers of mini skeins, using scrap yarns from your stash, or simply striping full skeins of yarn. So that's perfect as well. And it's Tunisian crochet. If you've ever tried Tunisian crochet, I know you'll love it. I know if you're only a beginner at Tunisian crochet, this is probably going to be a really good pattern to try to get into it. I love Tunisian crochet, and the stitch definition is so different to anything else. The next pattern on my list, I went a bit out there. This is the Brios Adventure Sha by Jonathan Tollo. This is a knitting pattern that is fingering weight yarn and using 3.5mm needles. It's 70.85 Swedish krona. So here it says, for me in Ireland, it's about €6.49, and it includes brioche. But when I was reading through the pattern, it says that they're only beginner stitches. So if you've never tried brioche before, this could be a good one to try. I've never tried brioche until I did the Go-Go Dynamo, but I've got the hang of it now, I think. So I don't think it would be that hard to try. The finished item should be 92.5 inches along the long side and 45 centimetres or 14.75 inches wide when it's blocked. So in the pictures that I've put up, his sample is knit with 16 mini skeins. So you don't need a full advent calendar for it. But I just think this would be an amazing pattern to use for your advent calendar, and it's something a bit different and something you can cherish. We're back to crochet now for number 14. This is the Venture Shawl by Melissa Fisher. It's a beautiful fingering weight shawl that's made with a 4mm hook, and it's written in English and the US crochet terminology. It's $7.63 and it's just stunning, absolutely beautiful. This pattern has gorgeous details and interesting texture, but with mindless repeats that make it for a relaxing project. It's super versatile and will be great stash buster or a project to make with mini skeins. And if that's not all, just wait until you see how fast it works up. I think it sounds really good. What do you think? Number 15 on my list is back to knitting, and I found this wrap on while I was searching, and it's the first time I've ever seen this wrap, and oh my god, it's beautiful. So this is definitely one to contend with for my advent calendar, depending what colours comes out. This is the Slay All Day Advent Wrap by Alison Stufer, and it's a knitting project with fingering weight yarn held together with lace or another fingering weight yarn. It uses 4mm hook size and it's $7.63 for the pattern. So the Slay All Day Wrap is a 24-day advent knitting adventure with lace, brioche and fluff. It's written for 24 skeins with 20-gram minis in fingering weight plus a 50-gram skein of mohair or Surrey alpaca for fluff. You may substitute the mini skeins with scraps and leftovers or a combination of full skeins in 2 or 3 colours. Feel free to omit the fluff if you wish. I know some people find the fluffy a bit irritating, but it's never bothered me. So I think you should definitely get that one on your wish list. Number 16, and we're back to crochet. It's the Baubles and Berries Wrap by Sandra Paul. So this crochet project I actually did see on another podcast, but I really wanted to feature it because I think it's a stunning, stunning wrap. It's made with fingering weight yarn. It's £5 to buy, and you use a 3.5mm hook. It's written in English and the crochet terminology is in both US and UK terms. So it's a beautiful way to use yarn mini advent calendar or treasure collection of your favourite scraps. This wrap is a perfect way to show off stunning shades of hand-dyed yarn. The inventive design, creating the edging as you work each section, makes for a simple finish and the ideal 24-day project. She states it's an intermediate pattern with basic and intermediate stitches used. Tutorials are included though for the specialist stitches. So if you're quite a good beginner learner, then I would definitely try this one out. But I would also add it to my wish list for later when you feel a bit more able to do it. Over halfway now at number 17, and I chose the Delight by Laura Nelkin. This is a beautiful knitting pattern that I think is DK and fingering weight yarn. I'm just having a look through now. So yeah, she's used Perfect Socks smalls in 25 skeins or the DK smalls in 25 skeins. So I'm guessing it just changes the size of the wrap. I think it looks more like a blanket, like a smallish blanket. It's beautiful. So it's $10.90 for the pattern, and it's an arrow shaped shawl blanket, a schlanket, designed to be an absolutely delightful knit. Use a mini skein kit or make your own magic ball from a stash and knit Delight as long as you want. That sounds perfect. Isn't it brilliant that you can use a DK or a fingering weight for that one? So if you got either calendar or you've even got some scraps lined up or a magic ball, it should definitely be on your wish list. So we're on to number 18, and it's another crochet project, and it's the Quiet Magic and Advent Wrap. This is the only pattern that I have put on my podcast, on my video, that is actually through Etsy, but the details are on Ravelry. So it's a lovely wrap by Anne Thrubron. It's DK weight yarn. It's a crochet pattern, and it's using a 5mm hook. The pattern price is €6.16. It's a stunning crochet wrap. on the excitement of opening a yarn advent calendar, but what to make with all that beautiful yarn, and that's where we're all at. Crochet this rectangular wrap to keep warm on cooler days or cozy up around the home. Easy to throw on around your shoulders. It can be doubled up as a warm scarf. Perfect for intermediate crocheters looking for an interesting project or very confident beginner. Love it. Number 19 on my list is a knitting pattern. It's not a normal advent pattern, but I just saw it would make the perfect advent calendar pattern. So the Arctic Doodle Cowl Infinity is by Jamie Lomax, and it's a knitting pattern in DK weight yarn using a 3.75mm hook, and it's $8.72 for the pattern. The Arctic Doodle Infinity Cowl is worked in the round as a tube from side to side, beginning with a provisional cast on in the design your own stranded colour work. Is then knitted to the desired finished circumference. Then the two ends are grafted together for a seamless infinity cowl with or without a twist. So in this pattern, you get 24 doodle motifs, including polar bears, penguins, walrus, narwhal, icebergs, snow-covered trees, snowflakes, and more. I am so going to make this, and it comes in 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large for adults. So you need any DK, light worsted, or sport weight yarn. Is this one going to be on your list? Because it's definitely on mine. Number 20 on my list, and we're back to crochet, and this is the Cozy Country Advent Scarf by Lucy and Crochet. It's a beautiful fingering weight pattern that is written in both US and UK terminology. It is $5 Australian dollars 44¢. You need 24 10 or 20 gram mini skeins and 100 gram skein. Or scrap yarn, you can use anything it says here. This pattern is designed to make a scarf using a yarn advent calendar comprised of any of the following. So it's absolutely perfect, and it's in fingering weight yarn, but I don't see there's any difference really. It'd just be bigger if you made it in a DK. How am I doing? Have you got any on your wish list yet? Have you seen any of these patterns before? Every time I watch a podcast, I always sit there with my Ravelry open. A lie, it's actually Ravit, which is an app that I found on my phone after I watched Wool Needle Hands podcast. And you have to pay for the app on the iPhone, not sure about Android, but it's attached to your Ravelry, and it's so much easier to look through the patterns and to search for things that I use it all the time. But I have my app open and I'm constantly saving. Every time I watch a video that something looks really good, I'm always saving it. I can't wait to try everything. Back to knitting now, and number 21 is the Starlight Star Bright blanket by Stephanie Sheeman. So this is a knitting pattern in sport weight yarn using a 4mm hook, and it's $5.45 for the pattern. It's a beautiful star-shaped blanket, and it uses 20 mini skeins and a full skein. It's perfect for an advent calendar. The pattern has 2 options: 24 minis and a full skein, or 20 minis and a full skein, so that's really good. You don't have to leave any out. One colour is knit up and finished, and then another, and when completed you'll have an ample throw radiating colour. The star-shaped blanket is worked from the centre out with your choice of 5 or 6 points. This would also make a really good scrappy project, especially if you've got a magic ball. Number 22's crochet pattern is a Polychromatic shawl. This is by Rachel Beth. It's $6.54 using fingering weight yarn and a 3.25mm hook. It's written in English and it's in US crochet terminology. So the Polychromatic is the perfect shawl to play with colour. It features delicate puff stitch shells that shift from one colour to the next across the shawl. Break out that special set of mini skeins, a long gradient, or get creative with leftovers. The shawl can be made with one main colour and 10 to 12 minis, or 20 to 24 minis, I think this would make a really nice shawl that you could keep forever. When you spend so much on an advent calendar, you want it to be worth it. We're nearly there. I hope you stay with me. Number 23 is back to knitting. This one is definitely in my top 5 what I may use mine for. So I'm on the Polaris Wrap by Vera Valamaki. I have no idea how to pronounce. I'm really sorry if I murdered it. So it's using fingering weight yarn, and it's a 4mm needle size. Now, when I read through this pattern, it says you can use 24 mini skeins, and it's one size. Finished measurements is 71 inches and 24 inches wide. So this pattern actually doesn't get released for us to buy until December 2024. So I'll be waiting for this one because that is stunning. It just looks so good, and the different colours that you're going to get in your advent calendar is going to be perfect for this. Are you going to make this one as well? So number 24 on my list is another crochet pattern, and it's the Crochet Advent Baby Blanket. I did notice with this pattern, and I have added them both into my advent calendar bundle, that there is one pattern in DK and then the other is in fingering weight. So depending if you have a DK or a fingering weight advent calendar, you can pick whichever of these patterns that you want. So the Crochet Advent Baby Blanket pattern is by Lucien Crochet. Hopefully I've said that right. And this particular one I'm looking at this moment is in DK. So it is $5 Australian dollars and 44 cents. It sometimes messes me up. And it is using a 3.5mm hook. So this pattern is designed to make a baby blanket using a yarn advent calendar comprising of 24 or 25 20-gram mini skeins and one 100-gram skein. This pattern would also work using mini skeins of scrap yarn and a contrasting main skein. So you don't need an advent calendar to do this pattern, obviously. And I think this one would also be good for a magic ball, knot ball, or all your scraps that you just have lying around that you can put them all together in whatever colorway you wanted to. I think this would be quite a good blanket. This blanket size makes it ideal as a baby blanket, pram blanket, pet blanket, lap blanket, or decorative throw. The finished dimensions of the blanket will be approximately 27.5 inches by 33.5 inches using 24 mini skeins. So I did actually see this on Knitty Natty's latest podcast. She's making one for Kent at the moment. She's already made one for Toaster, her dog. And she's also got one herself. So if you want to have a look at that one, sorry about the camera shaking, the cat's just jumped on the table. If you want to have a look at that one, go over. She has a brilliant podcast on YouTube. I'm sure you'll have seen her before you found me. And I get quite a lot of ideas from what she does and which patterns she has. And I know she has a very extensive pattern journal on Ravelry herself that I go to look at as well and use a lot of her ideas of things I would like to make. Pattern number 25 in my list is back to a knitting project, and it is the Colour Brick Road Blanket by Pearl Soho. So this blanket, as you can see, has many different colours, and if you're into that sort of blanket, I know there's a jelly roll blanket that I see a lot of people putting on here, ripple blankets, whatever, and obviously the previous crochet. This one is a knitted version. So what I like about this, it's a fingering weight pattern by Pearl Soho, and this is a free download, so it is brilliant. It uses 40 colour bundle. So what I'm thinking is, yes, you have 24 24 colours in your advent calendar, but you can add some scraps to it to make this blanket. It's a large throw size, and the finished dimensions are 36 inches by 42 inches long. I reckon this one, though, it could be edited to as much as you want. So maybe you've got previous advent calendars that you can add to it, or you've got, like I said, scraps, or even other mini skeins that you've just got in your stash. Isn't it nice when other designers shout other designers on their own patterns? So it says here, please note, we recently noticed there's a couple of similar blanket patterns on Ravelry that we'd like to shout out. KF Jones' awesome jelly roll blanket, like what I said to you before. And apparently there's Christine Burkhardt's gorgeous Long Live the Scraps pattern. Long Live the Scraps pattern. While there are some design and construction differences between our blankets, we imagine that, like us, Kay and Christine also are inspired by the traditional streak of lightning quilt pattern. We hope you'll check out their versions as well as all of Kay and Christine's other patterns too. Lots of amazing things to knit. I mean, that's just lovely, isn't it? That she's actually called them out on her actual pattern. I'm just going to press on the Long Live the Scraps because I've never heard of that one before, and have a look at that one. Long Live the Scraps. Oh, this one's nice as well. So this is a knitting pattern. I'll pop a picture up, and it's €4.36, and it's in English and German. Create a cozy yarn scrap blanket. Don't let any yarn go to waste. Transform your leftover skeins and scraps into a beautiful blanket, afghan or throw. With our simple join as you go technique, you won't need to pick up any stitches, making it easier for crafters of all levels. This is a flexible design because you can actually use any weight of yarn, which I reckon you could with the colour brick roll blanket as well, and the jelly roll blanket. It's just that obviously your blanket's going to be bigger the larger of the yarn you're using. Work on individual strips that are knitted together as you go, creating a cohesive blanket without the hassle. Perfect for using up neglected yarn and turning into an heirloom you'll cherish. Join us in giving your yarn scraps new life. Let's knit something beautiful together. I love this. It's absolutely great. I love that you knit the strips, and you can just put them together as and when you want, and you can make the blanket as big or as small as you want. What else can you what else can you say? So yeah, I'll just go back because that wasn't in my original 30, and just remind you that it was the colour brick roll blanket by Pearl Soho that I originally put on my video as number 25. So we're on to number 26. We're nearly there to 30. Last few patterns. Number 26 is the Riptide Wrap Advent Edition by Mariana Muller. So this is a crochet pattern, which is $7.63, and it's for fingering weight yarn, hook size of 5mm, and it's in English but US crochet terminology. So according to the pattern, it says, based on my popular Riptide Wrap pattern, this Advent Edition pattern is written to utilise an Advent or mini yarn set. So that's what we're looking for. That's perfect. The size, when it's done, measures approximately 175 centimetres. So plenty big enough. So this pattern also includes two options on how you make the wedges into the pattern, which I did notice that when I was looking at the pictures, the two of the shawls look completely different. One looks more colourful than the other. But I'm guessing it's so that you can add more and more colours into it. And when I looked into it, it says, yeah, option one is multiple coloured wedges, and option two is single coloured wedges. So yeah, that's another beautiful crochet pattern that would be perfect for your advent calendar. Pattern number 27, and we are looking at another brioche pattern for you brioche lovers. I love how Stephen West says that. So the Brios Bliss Advent Wrap by Sylvia Roseboom is a knitting pattern that's €4.95 using fingering weight yarn, and a 3mm needle size. It's in English and Dutch. So the Brios Bliss shawl is knitted using a very simple brioche pattern, making it ideal for beginner brioche knitters. So that's good. It's for beginners as well. The use of the colours makes the shawl so special and unique. Use at least 21 minis. More is certainly an option, maybe an advent calendar, or of 20 grams each to knit this cheerful, colourful shawl. So they used 21 different colours in their pictures, and I just think this is a beautiful shawl, especially if you love brioche, and bringing brioche in with a shawl that you can also use your advent calendar for is just lovely. Number 28 on my list, and we're back to crochet. So this is the Advent Wrap 2021 by Sharon Carter. This is a beautiful, it says wrap, but I would say more of a scarf, and it's £3.82, and it's for light fingering weight yarn and a 4.5mm hook. It's in UK terminology and in English. So this pattern is designed to use 24 10-gram skeins. So there for your 10-gram advent calendars. Here we go. And the approximate size when finished is 32 centimetres wide and 228 centimetres long after blocking. Size is easily adjustable width and length. So if you like a good long scarf, this could be the crochet pattern for you. The last two patterns I have to show you now, I'm on pattern 29. This one is a bit out there as well, but I thought it would make a great idea on something very unique, something you wouldn't see anywhere else, something that you could use your advent for and get use of it every year, and that you would love. It is the Holiday Doodle Stocking. So this is by Jamie Lomax, and the pattern is $8.72. It's using a DK weight and a 3.5mm needle knitting. I think it would make an absolutely great idea for your minis, that every day you do a bit of the colour work on your stocking, and at the end you have your Christmas stocking, possibly even on Christmas Eve if you're making it from the 1st of December and you've got time to do that little bit of colour work on your stocking every day. You could literally put your stocking out on Christmas Eve ready for Santa. How cool is that? So this pattern uses mix and match micro charts to allow the knitter to design their own holiday stocking. Modular instructions include flexible options for the upper ribbing, length and width of the finished stocking. Inspired by the festive motifs in holiday sweaters, Christmas wrapping and Starbucks cups, all the charts are designed to work together to create something completely unique within an easy to follow structure. Use these charts alone or add in other charts from the expanded Doodle series. It's worked in the round from top to bottom. It begins with a rib cuff, then a section of doodle, then a mock short row heel before finishing with similar colour work along the foot and a traditional sock toe, closed with a Kitchener stitch graft. And this pattern is uniquely designed to use up scrap yarn, leftovers, yarn advents or any other small batches of colourways in your stash. The yarn used in this sample is a suggestion from the designer. I love it. Absolutely love it. That is definitely on my list. It's definitely on my wish list. I'm definitely going to make them. Not sure if I'm going to use them with my advent calendar that I have here, because I want to just play around with patterns and open. What I'm thinking of doing is popping all my favourites in my cart on Ravelry. As soon as I open my first packet on the 1st of December, I will possibly make a decision then. I really love the idea of making this stocking all the way through December with my calendar and then having a stocking at the end of it. So the finished measurements, cuff to heel, 16 inches, heel to toe, 4.5 inches. It uses 1 full skein of a main colour and 4 to 6 half skeins. But obviously, if you're using your 20 gram mini skeins, you're going to be changing anyway, all the way down. But it's good to have the 1 full skein for your contrast colour. This is definitely a contender for me. I don't know if it is for you. So my last pattern, pattern number 30, it was so hard to keep it to 30 patterns. I had so many different ideas to show you. Pattern number 30 is our last crochet pattern, and it is Fade Into Christmas by Yarnia Designs. This is a beautiful blanket throw that is only £5.45 for the pattern, using fingering weight yarn and a 3.5mm hook. I love this one. So Fade Into Christmas is a perfect cozy project to showcase your Advent mini skeins. The throw is crocheted from corner to corner, fading through 24 different colours before finishing off with a contrast border. The project is simple and mindless, which means you can just enjoy watching the colours fade into one another. What I love even more about this design is that it can also be doubled up in a cozy shawl when you fold it in half. So the sample of the throw that's in the pictures, she used fingering weight yarn, 24 20 gram mini skeins. However, you can adjust the size of the throw by using fewer mini skeins if you would like. You will also require 30 grams in a contrast colour for the border, in the size she's crocheted. Another beautiful crochet project for your advent calendar. So that's your lot, that's all 30. I hope I've given you so many different advent calendar patterns to think about, and some new ones too that you've never seen before. I have about 5 in my top out of them 30, and now I have to make a big decision on what I'm going to make. Unfortunately, as I was just about to finish this, my microphone has died on me. It needs charging. So I'm sorry if the volume's a little bit different, but I'm trying to speak up so that you can hear me. If you would like to follow me on Ravelry, you will find me at Ifknitscouldkill. I have got a few bundles in there that I have started to pop all the different patterns in, so you can follow a bundle if you like. You can even add me as a friend, I will add you back. I'm also on Instagram, which is where I usually post everything I've been making recently. So you can find me there, it is Ifknitscouldkill as well. All the details will be down below about where you can find me, all the patterns I spoke about, all the shops I spoke about, anything, it will be down below. I'm heading off to Dublin Fibre Festival this weekend. I literally can't wait. After watching all the American ones, I'm just super excited. And this is the first one to ever hit Dublin. So it's going to be a blast. I'm taking my daughter with me. She's super excited too. Tomorrow we're heading off on the train, and hopefully I'll get some decent video that I can pop on my podcast so you can see what the Dublin Fibre Festival was like. There's supposed to be so many hand-dyed vendors there. There's weaving, there's spinning. I don't know what else. I will show you. We're heading off on the train at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're so excited. If you like this video, please hit subscribe and like it. I am planning on doing many more of these types of videos. Also shops that I go to visit, and obviously the Fibre Festival. And I also love talking about patterns. So there'll be definitely many more of these types of videos to come. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Happy knitting, happy crochet, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching again.